Hey guys, welcome to the start of my new Kerbal Space Program series. This is going to be the first series that I'm putting up on my channel, and I think we're going to call this one the Race for Eeloo, because Eeloo is the furthest planet in the Kerbal system from the star, and it seems like an appropriate benchmark to me. So we're going to actually do a science game, because in career mode you have to deal with funds as well, and that generally translates to having to do a whole bunch of testing contracts where you're just testing a bunch of random parts. And I find those to be extremely tedious and annoying, and certainly not any fun. So I find it much more fun to go and actually investigate other worlds and actually go and see other things and find problems or find solutions to problems that arise from trying to get there. So we're going to stick with the science game, and I'm going to change a few of the options here real quick. So we're going to make for indestructible facilities, because I don't understand how you can repair a facility that's broken when you have no concept of funds in the game. So I would assume it would just be something that you can right click and just do immediately, but then there's no point in having it. So I'm just going to turn that on so that I don't have to bother with it. I'm also going to turn off reverting flights, because I am going to try my damnedest to not have to go back and change and revert to anything, because I do that all the time in my personal save files whenever something doesn't go exactly as I want it to. But I'm going to be completely honest about this game, and I'm not gonna I'm not going to lie about what happened. You know, if something goes wrong, I'm gonna be straight up about it, just like NASA has to be. So we're gonna go with that, and that all sounds good to me. What flag should we go with? I think I'm gonna go with, ionic, symphonic, protonic, electronics. That sounds like fun. Okay, so that all sounds good. That all sounds in order. Let's get started. Okay, so here we are at the Space Center. Thank you, Gene Kerman. I think we can find our own way around here. Now, since we're not doing a career mode, we are not going to have to bother with mission control. So we're just going to jump straight into the vehicle assembly building and get started, so that we can start getting some science and building some bigger and better rockets to go boldly where no Kerbal has gone before. So let's start off with the standard command pod and parachute with 3 mystery goo containment units. Now, if anybody's played this game on the science mode before, you know how the first couple missions are going to go. You're not going to get really anywhere unless you're Scott Manley. But yeah, so this is basically what everybody's first rocket is going to look like, because those are, you're going to have the command pod, you're going to have the parachute, you're going to have the basic science unit, and you're going to have whatever rocket you happen to start off with. So I'm just going to call this one Micro Mark 1, since it's so small and I'm never going to use it again. But we'll just go with that. Yeah, so I think that's all in order. I mean, this is about as complex as it's really going to get, so I'm just going to go ahead and launch this, and we will get on our way. Now that we're on the launch pad, before we actually take off, there are a couple things that you can do before you start. You can actually do some science on the launch pad. So I'm going to do a mystery goo containment unit observation, and that's going to be 3 science, and I'm going to do a crew report, another 1.5 science. We're halfway there, guys. We're like halfway to Eeloo already. Don't worry. So there's an EVA report, and it says that he's flying, and I presume that's because his feet aren't actually touching the ground. But even though his craft is stationary and he's on the planet, it considers him flying simply because his feet are not touching the ground. But oh well, that's not a problem. So I'm just going to shuffle some stuff around here real quick. I'm going to pull the data out of the command pod and out of the goo canister. I'll explain exactly what I'm doing here in just a minute after we take off. But yeah, that all sounds good. That's about as much science I'm really gonna do here. So we're just gonna go ahead and send Jebediah on his way. That's some excellent acceleration already. We've only been flying for about 2 seconds when we're at 150 meters per second. That's about 75 meters per second meters per second squared acceleration. Now, what I mentioned earlier about like what I was doing with the whole science thing, since I can demonstrate this here to a degree, when I take a crew report, it's listed as a separate thing under the command pod. So like I can't take another one without overriding this one. But what I did was I pulled it out of the command pod using Jebediah here, and that shuffled that data in with the other three, which is why when I look at review stored data, the crew report is there. But I've also taken another one from when I was in flight. So that crew report is still there, it's just in a different place, and it allows me to actually take more crew reports and get more science without having to overwrite things, which is very helpful early on. So it looks like we're going to hit 6823.5 meters up. I think the highest, if I read that correctly, the highest speed that we got to was 481 or so meters per second before the engine cut out. So now we're just slowly descending back towards Kerbal, and this is a typical first mission. You put one rocket underneath the command pod. I'm going to speed this up, by the way, so that we don't have to wait forever. You put one rocket underneath the command pod, and you go until that rocket burns up, and then you come back down. That's about as complex as it gets. So I'm going to deploy the parachute now. That might not have been safe. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Ooh, 150 meters above the surface, and we get to a safe speed. Thank goodness we weren't going any faster than that. Yeah, so we're just going to coast down to the surface now and recover this vessel and get on our way onto more science in the next mission. Let's see, so I'm going to do a couple other things here. I don't really think I can do anything else here other than I could probably take a surface sample, but I wonder if I can kind of cheat. Oh, okay, no, never mind. That's fine. Let's see, there's a surface sample there and an EVA report from the ground, and I'm just going to have to recover these separately because I am not going to get him back in there. However, Jebediah completed his first mission with distinction and did a very good job. So let's see, we've recovered him now, and we have 16 science from that, and we're going to recover the rest of it from the pod, so we have 38 science. That's an excellent start. That is absolutely wonderful. So now that we're at the Research and Development Center, we can pick out some more parts that we want to research. Definitely going to get these first two. That's going to give us our first liquid fuel engine and our first and a bigger solid fuel booster and a liquid fuel tank, so we can actually get some liquid rockets up there, as well as the Science Junior in this other tech part. This is going to be so incredibly beneficial to us for the remainder of this series. I sincerely believe that you can gain more science from this one science unit than any other part in the game, and it's so good. Also, we get the stack decoupler, which is going to be very useful for multi-stage rockets. And we also get an antenna and a plane cockpit, so that's alright. Now, I can choose between general rocketry, stability, and survivability, and I can only pick one, and I'm really inclined to go with survivability, just because it's going to mean so much more down the road when we can recover science in a safe manner without risking it being destroyed by either re-entry effects or by crash landings or anything like that. So I'm going to go for survivability just because it makes the craft that much safer. So now that we have all of those parts, we can come back here and start a new rocket and let's see, make it far more sophisticated. So we're going to go with the standard pod and parachute on top, but we're also going to put 3 here so that it can slow down that much faster. And directly underneath it, we're going to put the Science Junior, as well as 3 more Mystery Goo containments, because I'm fairly certain we can get to suborbital. I don't think we'll get into an orbit, but we can definitely get up to out of the atmosphere, even for just a couple minutes. Let's see. So we've got the heat shield on there, and we've got the stack decoupler, so now we can add our liquid fuel engine that I want to put on there. That's going to be very helpful. So we're going to get those 3. I think 3 is perfect for this, because any more and the lower stage won't be able to lift it. So we're going to do this. So that's our liquid fuel stage, and now we're going to add the bigger solid fuel booster, and that should be very. It won't be enough to lift this entire upper stage on its own, but if we add 3 more here, then we should be in business. Okay, put those all on a single stage. And what do we want to call this? Because, I mean, this is the start of our space program. We gotta have a name akin to the celebrity acquired by the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs. So we have to come up with some illustrious name that's gonna be very catching. So let's go with... I'm very into classical mythology. So, who's a popular figure? How about we name our programs after the Greek gods? Well, we'll skip Apollo because that's a little too real. But let's start off with, since this is kind of like the maiden voyage of our space program. Granted, we have already had one mission, but this is where we've really overstepped the bounds of Kerbal. So how about we're sending a message to the rest of the solar system that we are here. So how about we do Hermes 1, since he is the messenger of the gods. That sounds appropriate. So we're gonna go ahead and save that, and let's see, make sure we got the staging right here. And we don't have any. Oh, we do have action. Let's go ahead and okay. So we can keep Jebediah in there. He proved himself on his first mission, and I think he's gonna do a good job. I like that all of the stats are maxed out since it's not career mode. That works. So okay, we're gonna go ahead. I think I already saved that, but that's okay. And we're gonna go ahead and launch. Alright, so here we are on the launch pad with the maiden voyage of the Hermes program to escape the gravitational bounds of Kerbal and ultimately achieve an orbit. So I think I did all the science that we really needed from the launch pad on the last mission, so we'll just go ahead and launch this straight away. Woo! That's some good thrust right there. That's very, very good. That's gonna give us a pretty serious boost right off the bat. 300 meters per second, 400 meters per second, 500. Come on, I think we got about maybe an eighth of our fuel left. 600, 700. Ooh, just short of 800. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to... Okay. No. Keep it under control. Keep it under control. Don't do this. Don't do this. No, shit. No. Okay, come back. Give me control. There we go. No. No, please. Oh my god, I'm just doing stunts now. Ugh. Come on. Yes. There's control. There we go. Aha. Now we're in the upper atmosphere, and we're definitely suborbital. That's 97,000 meters. There we go. 97 kilometers up. So I'm going to save the Science Junior until we can get actually into open space. But I can still do mystery goo observations up here and crew reports and so on. I believe I can even pop him out and do an EVA report from up here. Oh god, put him back in. Jesus. It looked like he was sliding off the ladder up there. Oh no, that would have been a catastrophe. Okay, well, we're almost into orbit, or well, not into orbit, into open space, but the atmosphere on Kerbal, okay, I think that music is the hallmark of being in orbit, yeah. The atmosphere on Kerbal extends to 70 kilometers up, so anywhere past that is in open space. So we can do the Science Junior now, and that's going to give us 25 science. Excellent. That's very helpful. 10 more science from Mystery Goo, and another crew report. That's another 5. Jebediah. No? There we go. EVA report from above Kerbal shores. Okay. Oh, I think I made him let go. Oops. Okay, put him back in there. And think we can really get anywhere other than the sea. So I think I'm just gonna hold on to this engine and have it like break our fall once we start to descend back. Okay, there we go. There's the descent. So I'm going to orient towards the path, or towards the retrograde vector, and start descending. 700, 800 meters per second is really mega fast for this kind of thing right now. Let's see. Okay, so we're about to hit the lower atmosphere, so I'm going to go ahead and use this boost now. That'll dampen our speed a pretty good bit, but it's not going to remove the re-entry effects as we're already seeing here. But they are significantly less, I would say. Oh, maybe not. Oh, come on, stay upright. Don't tip over. Don't tip over. Don't tip over. Okay, there we go. That's fine. Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, so we are not too far off from landing at this point. Oh, yeah, there's our engine crashing into the terrain. Go ahead and deploy the parachutes now. Now, we're going to do some more science on the ground. I'm going to fast forward this so that we can get there a little quicker. But now, with regard to names, I know I said that I was going to name the programs after the Greek gods and so on, as there's something relatable. But I'm not opposed to the idea of, my viewers sending in names for me to use for my rockets. Or at least for the titles of programs and for satellites and for rather large vessels such as like space stations and like really large interplanetary vessels and so on and so forth. And thankfully we are not bound by the NASA naming scheme where they seem to name everything off of at least stuff near Earth. They seem to name off of just whatever instruments happen to be on it. But yeah, I think this is good. This is a good start. So please, feel free to send in names if you can think of any that are cool or good and everything like that. But I do, of course, reserve the right to veto any names that come across, whether they're inappropriate or anything of that nature. So we're going to just shuffle some more stuff around so that we can get another crew report. Let's see. Yeah, there's another crew report there. And we're going to pop him out one more time and we're going to get some surface samples. Oh, careful. Careful. Definitely looks like dirt. Never underestimate the power of your spacesuit, Jebediah. Never, ever, ever. So we're going to recover him now, and we will recover the pod in just a second here. 25 science, well, 11 science just from him, but we're up to 25 now, so that's pretty good. I believe, yes, I can recover it just from looking here at the spaceport. 106? We're up to 106 science now, guys. We're gonna be at the moon in no time. Let's see. So I know I want this one here because it's going to give us our first probe core, our first batteries, another science instrument, the thermometer, some more radiator panel, which is going to help us with re-entry to keep us from exploding, and another comms dish, which will be semi-useful later on. I think we can also, yes, we have more than enough science to unlock both of these other two here. And that's going to give us a larger solid fuel booster, another more controllable liquid fuel engine, some radial decouplers, nose cones, and bigger fuel tanks. So, this is looking really good. This is an excellent start, I feel like. And I'm thinking that we will be able to carry on from this fairly well. And I think we will try next video to get into orbit around Kerbal and do some more science there. Maybe even get a few satellites up there. That'll be cool. And I'll probably once we start to get into more launches, I'll probably start cutting out the atmospheric aspect of it. I'll show the launch, but don't really need to see the same thing over and over again, unless it's something that I particularly care to show you. So, I think that's going to do it for this video, guys. Until next time. Alright guys, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I would really appreciate it if you would hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As I said in the video, the next part of this series is going to come out Wednesday of next week, and we will get to see more stuff and hopefully get into orbit. Also, as I mentioned in the video, please be sending in names for me to use for different rockets and for different programs and large vessels that frankly need names. Other than that, I think we're off to a really good start, and I hope to get very far with this series. I haven't actually made it through the entire solar system in my personal saves myself, so it'll be an interesting experience for me as well to get all the way out to Eeloo and to even parts of Jewel and Dress that I haven't seen yet. I don't know if I've even seen Moho, to be honest. Either way, there's a lot to be seen and a lot still to come, so please stay tuned. Hope to see you again soon. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.